Welcome back to another Canon movie review. I'm your host Terry, and today we're reviewing Shazam. Going to do a non-spoiler and then spoilers at the end. So starting off, this is the second time I saw it. Did see the 2-week early preview, did my initial reaction. And I kind of basically said I didn't have any problems with it. And I would say after the second viewing, I felt a little different, or a pretty good amount different. Just because, maybe I had the rose colored glasses on, maybe I was just taking in everything they was giving us and it was just really good. But on the second time I had a chance to be more critical, I guess, and to see if it all held up. And I don't feel exactly the same. While I think it's still a really good movie, I think there's some real bad parts in it that I kind of overlooked the first time. And so for me, I think this movie has some really high highs where it's just great, but there's some low lows where the sucky parts, even though it's not a bunch of them, the sucky parts really suck. And so for me, the great parts, is definitely Zachary Levi as Shazam. Not exactly, as I think more about it, it's not exactly the route I would take, which, and it's just my sensibilities, but it's definitely one route you could take. I would like to see them kind of add more than just the big comedy if they do the sequel. So, but for this one, it works as the introduction. But overall, Zachary Levi is great, man. He's got great comedic timing. He has a great ability to feel like a kid. And I was worried that he wouldn't match Asher Angel as Billy Batson, who was very moody, very aloof to himself. But what I realized after the second time is that Billy is that way to everybody because he's putting on a front and, you know, he's vulnerable inside. But once he becomes Shazam, then he has this ability to now kind of be what he wants to be. And so I think the movie plays out in a way where Shazam, Zachary Levi, could be a little more lighthearted than Billy actually is. So the chemistry though between Shazam and Billy and the brother, and I can't remember his name, I'm bad with names, but the brother that's the cripple that kind of becomes his sidekick or mentor or whatever because he's into superheroes. I really enjoyed that dynamic. That kid is really hilarious. I think he has great comedic timing as well. Unfortunately, the acting job, I'll get to that later. But anyway, I like that part. I actually like kind of the fact they tried to give some more backstory to the villain, Dr. Savant and all that. I thought Mark Strong had great presence. It was just fun, man. I thought the story was just pretty fun. I mean, the story wasn't nothing elaborate, but it was just fun to kind of watch it all play out. I think the comedy's great. I think just the enjoyment of seeing the superhero act that way with superpowers is really fun. Yeah, I mean, a large chunk of this movie is just the chemistry between Billy Batson and Shazam and his new stepbrother. But even the chemistry with the family later on and everything, I think works pretty well too. But yeah, I would honestly say overall it's not too much that's better. Without going into spoilers, I guess there's not too much that's, you know, on the good side outside of how well the execution of the chemistry and how much fun the movie is, which goes a long way. A lot of movies get positive reviews just for being fun. So that's what I would say on the positive side. Negative side, there's a number of performances that aren't great, and to me, they're all in the family. All in the family. I think some of the worst performances in the family. Again, some people don't like the villain from Mark Strong, but I think that Mark Strong's a good enough actor that his presence makes up for it. But there's some, like, you could tell really fresh actors in the family, and I just think they did not give really good performances at all. And then the CGI, there's parts where it really looks not bad. it just looks cheesy for this day and age. And so I wouldn't say like, oh my God, it's terrible CG. In general, I would just say like, it doesn't look unfinished. It just looks like, well, okay, that's low budget CG for 2019. And I didn't honestly see it that first time. Like none of the shots I never felt that, but there's definitely like 4 or 5 shots in the movie this time around that I'm like, ooh, yeah, that looks kind of trash. So, that's unfortunate there. And then I would say the other thing is that even though this movie isn't a straight comedy, there is other dimensions to it. It feels disjointed. So David F Sandberg comes from the horror background, working with James Wan in those movies, in the Annabelle universe, I think. And so there's definitely a number of horror aspects that you don't see coming. And I guess that's a positive too, because it is multi-dimension. But on the negative side, I think there's comedy, there's horror, and there's some really heart-wrenching drama. And it just kind of never flows well. Like, it's cool that the movie has it all, but I don't think it's tied together well to where it's kind of jarring when you jump from one scene of fun to one scene of heart to one scene of horror. It could have worked, but I don't think the editing came together in a way that it worked out the best. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But really that's it. I mean, overall it's a pretty meat and potatoes movie. You're gonna have fun with the fun things that are obvious, and you might not like some of the things that aren't part of having fun with Shazam. When you're not having fun with Shazam, there's some parts that you're just like, oh, this could have been better. So I think that's just kind of how it boils down. And for me, I would give it, originally I said 100 out of 100. No, I'm taking it down to an 87. So a B plus, but 87 out of 100. Again, the stuff that they hit and needed to hit, they hit hard and it's good. But there's some things that kind of take the movie down for me. So that's it for the non-spoilers. Go see Shazam and then come back and listen to the spoilers. Or if you don't care about spoilers, gonna go into spoilers. All right, starting in the spoiler section now. The number one thing I would say on the spoiler side is there is a lot of like DC universe in here. I know a lot of people are saying, okay, it won't be heavily connected to the DCU and we aren't really doing movies anymore. That's a universe, which I can understand. Aquaman had one reference where you beat Steppenwolf. That was it. But this movie not only has all the references, but of course at the end you had the Superman cameo that's clearly not Henry Cavill. However, it is the DC Universe Superman suit and symbol. So it's supposed to be the Superman in this universe. But even before that, the amount of Batman and Superman stuff, not just from Freddy, that's his name, the stepbrother who has all these collectibles, but they go out of their way to put these Batman book bags in the shot. There's all type. He's got the Aquaman t-shirt a lot. There's a lot of Batman placement, a little bit of Superman placement, a lot of Batman placement. So this movie, there is no arguing, is firmly in the DC universe. So I thought that was just interesting. And then of course the end credit, you got all the drawings with the Flash, Wonder Woman, all, Batman, Superman. Now that honestly doesn't mean anything. And then there was the Aquaman reference at the end of the movie too. But still, all that doesn't really mean anything in the end credit scene. You could just do that to have fun. But I think everything else combined, this movie is firmly in the DC universe. So, anyway, outside of that, talking about some of the stuff that, would, I guess, kind of felt disjointed. I will say though, it was amazing. The moment in the scene with his, mother was an amazing emotional scene. 2 times I tried to fight it and it definitely got me. And maybe that's a personal level thing, but wow, it was dark. It was kind of dark. And this movie overall is not dark, but this movie's not a kid movie. where you definitely got the booty trap. Yes, the booty trap. That gentleman's club. Talking about some, I want glitter, not from them. And so I like that. But this particular scene, I mean, it comes right after Billy kind of gives up being Shazam because he just got whooped in the mall by Savannah. So it wasn't like it was a happy time, but still, it just felt a little disjointed, and kind of the horror scenes, like the executive board or whatever they called it, from the scene where Savannah goes in and kills all the board members and kills his dad and his brother. That just, yeah. I mean, they didn't show bloody stuff, but it got kind of gory. Not gory, but it kind of got, I don't know the word, violent, I guess. It looked very violent. And, you know, they didn't show the blood, but they're insinuating people's heads getting bit off, people getting ripped apart, people screaming up against the wall and getting killed. Like, it was pretty messed up. So, but I just feel like a lot of those scenes came together kind of disjointedly where it didn't feel correct, if that kind of makes sense. But yeah, overall I like the Shazam stuff, man. I thought not even Easter eggs, just the compliments, like having the statues of the 7 deadly sins. Now, I didn't think they were going to play a part in the movie, but having those statues there and then putting them in the movie really shows a nod to the actual Shazam or Rock of Eternity. And then having, of course, the Marvel family, as they call them, at the end. I did not think they were going to do that in the first movie. So that was, but by the time we were getting there, I figured, that was going to happen. But going into the movie, I just never thought they were going to do it. And we didn't really see the family at all in the commercials or the trailers. And so once we started seeing the family so much in the movie, I was like, yeah, they're going to hint towards the Marvel family, but I didn't think they would actually transform in this movie. So that came by a little bit of a surprise. I don't know how I feel about it, because one of the things I really don't like, is the way this costume look. I mean, I like the costume, but it's rubbery. It's like foam padding. And some people like, see, it looks so good. Everyone was complaining about the pictures. I'm like, it looks exactly like it did in the pictures, except it's got a little more CG clean on it, but it looks like it did in the pictures. Like, it doesn't look like his actual body. And then once they had the family transform, it looks even worse. So Zach Levi obviously got in some good shape, because he kind of fills it out, but also you can tell his pattern. But with the Marvel family, they look just like it's a cartoon show. Not a cartoon show, but like a Saturday show where it's just like goofy. Their costumes look so silly. I do not like that. But having them kind of be in the mix is kind of cool. Yeah, it's not a whole bunch of spoilers to talk about, I guess. I really liked it. I wish some of the acting was better. I think the parents were bad. I thought they were really bad. I thought the little Darla girl, she was cool. Everybody else I thought was trash. And some of the dialogue was trash. That's what I was thinking of too. Some of the dialogue in this movie was really trash. Like a lot of the dialogue with Billy and Shazam and Freddy, that was really good. But a lot of the other dialogue for everybody else, Savannah included, was pretty trash. So I didn't like that at all. But, yeah, so I was kind of disappointed by those acting performances, with the family. But overall, again, I just really enjoyed the movie, and I'm excited to see where they go from here. So anyway, that's it for me and my review for Shazam. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. What would you rate the movie? What'd you feel about the movie? If you haven't seen it, what do you want to see? Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, get the conversation started. And if you heard it here, it's official canon.